Over beats, baby.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's your girl, Miss Melanie, and of course, you're watching B.A.R TV, Brilliant and Resilient Television. So, I have a brilliant and resilient guest by the name of Pirata, Taliek, whatever you want to call him,
Yes.
but that's my bro.
Yes, all three.
Right, and he is someone who is in transition, who has transitioned and definitely has made it through a couple of generations of trials and tribulations, we'll call them, right? So, an entrepreneur, an artist, and I'm just gonna say a genius, because it takes someone really brilliant to be able to evolve through centuries and just keep on transitioning yourself through time. So
Definitely.
welcome. Thank you for finally coming.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Yes, first interview, so.
The first of many more, because I break new artists. I break new talent right here.
Yeah.
And no, but so you have a book that you're starting, right? And
Yes.
we're gonna start. The way I want to introduce Pirate is it makes sense that you called it From Brooklyn to the Bronx, because you are from Brooklyn to the Bronx.
Right.
We are that. So
Right,
we
we
kind
both
of
are
have
that.
this.
Yep.
We're on the same page with that. So
common.
I really, really love that you called it that.
I know, the title, everybody was like, oh man, that of course it's supposed to be called that.
Yes,
it makes all the
it
sense.
makes sense. So From Brooklyn to the Bronx, and we definitely both from Brooklyn and the Bronx, and I know him from both areas. So let's start out in Brooklyn. What can you share with the audience about who you are and where you came from in Brooklyn?
Well, we started out, my family, my mom's and pops came from Puerto Rico in the 60s, wound up in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, which is not far from the area we moved to later. Then around the late 60s, when I was a year old, she got called for the housing projects in Fort Greene, and then we moved in there, you know. Come from a hard-working family. My mom's always worked, my pops did too. And then, yeah, we were one of the few Puerto Rican families that hit Fort Greene projects around that era, and we was there like 30 years. So we got deeply entrenched, you know. Our roots were firm there for a long time. And then everybody left out of there around the 2000s. I had moved to the Bronx in 90 though, because I had met a friend of mine that's deceased now named Calderon. He was
Rest in peace, Calderon.
Rest in peace, Calderon.
That's not a name you just throw out so lightly like that. So
Right.
I definitely want to give my respect to that name.
Yes, George Calderon, and I met him inside in one of the prisons right before I came home, and then he pulled me up to the Bronx, and I've been up there ever since. So yeah, and then made that kind of like my second home. So that's how the story, and the story is usually told about me like that, From Brooklyn to the Bronx. That's how I gave the book the title, you know, because all experiences from Brooklyn to the Bronx.
Now, hold on. Who knows you as what, where, though? Because in certain areas, they call you Taliek. In certain areas, it's Pirata or Pirate. How did that come about? And where did both names come from?
Okay, so Taliek came from Fort Greene. When I became a 5%er at the early age of 12, I took on that attribute, and I got knowledge of self in the 5% Nation. I became Taliek Divine. My real name's Alejandro, and everybody, I chose that name, and then everybody called me that throughout my early teen years and most of my 20s. So when you go to Brooklyn with me, most everybody down there calls me Taliek.
Those deep roots.
Yes, everybody, like, if somebody calls me Taliek when I walk down the street, I know they know me for a long time.
Right.
Because most everybody else calls me Pirate now, because that happened later.
And where Pirate came from?
Pirate came from inside the prison in the Brooklyn house. Yeah, I was given that name for one or two situations that happened, and I always wore bandanas like I still do, and with big earrings like I still do. So even back then, certain situations that happened, there was this pimp locked up with me named Ice Cream from Bushwick. That had a tattoo on his of ice cream on his face. He started calling me Shorty Pirate first. And he was like, "Oh, Shorty Pirate," because you know certain moves I was making, and he was like, "Oh, you look just like a pirate." And then
you meant short.
Yeah, that kind of stuck. Shorty Pirate got reduced to Pirate, and then when I got to Rikers Island from the Brooklyn house, the Latinos in there was like, "Pirate, Pirata, right?" The same thing. I was like, "Yeah." So then, and it became Pirata after that, and that kind of took on a life of its own. The Pirata version of it.
Nice. Okay, so now you're the only Latin artist signed to the Ruff Ryders, right?
Well, I was the first signed to them. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, after I left them, you know, I was moving around a lot, state to state.
But how did that even happen? How do you go from prison, streets, hustling, to all of a sudden you're signed to the Ruff Ryders now?
So rapping, I was always rapping as a kid in the projects in Fort Greene. I was one of the young kids down there with my Kangol backwards, getting on the mic when they used to be jamming outside. So I always rap. I was rapping English, and throughout the prison system, I always kept up writing raps and stuff like that. When I came home after a while, I started making the demos when the CDs came out. First we was doing demos on cassettes, and then my homeboy Ben. Shout out to Ben, locked up right now in the feds, free Ben. Hopefully he'll be home soon. He was down with the Ruff Ryders biker group before they had the label. When it was the Ruff Ryders biker group, the stunt guys and all of that.
Shout out to Sincere, because if you haven't watched the video, I interviewed Sincere from the Ruff Ryders podcast, biker, all that good stuff.
Well, all of them, that movement is called the Lifestyle, Ruff Ryders Lifestyle. Ben was a part of that. So he goes back with the CEOs since day one when they started it, and they recruited all them stuntmen and all that on motorcycles and four-wheelers. He knew DNY real good. Even when they first started the label, he always kept with the movement. He was part of a lot of the videos, the early videos with DMX and all that. So when he started hearing the CDs and the music I was doing, because me and Ben was always close, he was like, "Yo, I need to let DNY hear that." So at first I thought he was playing, and one day he really got it to Y. Then they heard it. They didn't really know much about it because it was in Spanish, but reggaeton was starting to rise around that time.
So break in.
And Ruff Ryders label was kind of, you know, struggling. A lot of artists had left, and then they said, "Yo, let me let some people hear it that know Spanish." And then I guess whoever told me, "Yo, yeah, it might be something there." And they said, "Yo, bring them in." So we went in. They took me to Hip Hop Summit 2004. We did some promotion back when Jim was doing his album release party. And then after that, they signed me, and then, you know, we kind of took off from there.
You went on tour or something with them,
I was on tour with them for like 2.5 years, almost 3 years.
Where did you hit on the tour?
State to stay all over the country. We was out in Bahamas, we was out in Puerto Rico.
Oye, les dije que venía, pero no me hicieron caso. Ahora van a tener que coger par de cantazo, alcen los brazos, si no los lleno de balazo. No pueden con la doble R, son unos payasos.
Atlanta, we did a lot of big shows everywhere. The car races, videos, DVDs.
My bro.
Miami,
if you don't know, Pirate. Very low key, very humble, because he's a family man also.
Yeah.
He is taking ladies, don't try it. He has his wife, he has his children. Now also he was a single father. You got custody of your kids.
Yeah.
Right? Let's talk about that, because that doesn't happen a lot. That's one of the reasons I admire him as a person, just in general.
Yeah, because you remember when I was with my son alone. Yeah. Right. That's right before
and then you got with your wife, and it was just like, it just all made sense. So I was happy, and I'm still happy. How many years later?
20.
Yes. So,
20 years,
you know,
99.
trials and tribulations come, ladies, but you get you a good foundation, and
shout
you
out to my
build
wife
together. I think that you guys definitely complement each other in the best ways. So
Yeah,
I
thank
love
you very
it.
much.
I'm a fan of the relationship goals.
That's it.
So, but yeah, how was it? What made you choose to step up and take your children as a man, juggling all of that, and then you're gonna take kids too?
Yeah, because, I mean, the situation between me and my kid's mother, one had ended already, and then the other one was on the way out. You know, the relationship wasn't doing so good. So the night that we broke up, you know, of course, one of us had to leave the crib, so the apartment was really mine. She had somewhere where she had to go, so I stood there, but I wasn't willing to let my son go like that because she wasn't knowing if she was going to be stable or not, and I was. So I said, you know, he can't really leave here. You know, he needs to stay with me because I don't know what's going to happen, where he's going to wind up. And then from there, I just stood with him. So we never even went to court or none of that.
That
you
was
know?
Romeo?
Yeah, that was Romeo, my youngest
Shout
son.
out to Romeo, I know Romeo.
Yeah, that was my son Romeo. But before that, I had my oldest son for a while in Brooklyn while I was finishing parole. And then when I moved back to the Bronx, after I went down to Miami and we got married, we came back, and I took him for a number of years too. So then, you know, he was living under the same roof with us for a while.
Nice. So how has it been juggling being a wholesome family man, because family means the most to you, and also hustling through your many ventures, we'll call it many ventures, to survive in the name of survival, and as a provider that you are. So how was that like?
I mean, it was tough, man, through certain periods, but you know, we always pulled through. I'm always wanting to make it happen. My wife also too. Without her help, I don't know what I would have done, or if I could have made it. You know, shout out to my wife, Lisette. You know, been doing this with me for 20 years, and appreciate the woman she's been. So you know, she always kept me strong. You know, when times were bad, because things were different by the time I came home, and not everything was the same. So, I mean, but I chose to want to raise the kids, so you know I had to everything else kind of cease, and then just focus my efforts on that. You know, was out of commission from the streets for a number of years, peeking my head out here and there, but I had to make sure that I had to raise the family, and keep everybody together.
And that was what mattered most to you,
because definitely
it's like you've experienced highs and lows and mids, and still through it all you seemed like a happy.
Yeah, nah, we pulled through it, man, and we don't regret one day of it, wouldn't have done it no other way, and if we get another chance, we'd still do it the same, but...
And now you're back at it, because now you decided to become an author.
Yeah. Well, that's always been in the plans, but, the time wasn't right yet, so much back and forth. I moved around a lot of states, in the last 15 years, so, I'm busy with the kids and all kind of other things that come into play, so...
So what can we expect from this book?
This book is going to start from the early beginnings down in Brooklyn, and it's just going to be a true life story. So, it's going to be some bad, it's going to be some good, but it's what it is. It's just a story being told. There's a lot of excitement, adventure, some sad parts, bad parts, but that's what you can expect. A little bit of everything, because I think I'm one of those people that have been through so many different things in life, and been so many places. So I think it'll be exciting, it'll be good.
Very interesting. I'm looking forward to reading it. Now, do you have any other current projects that you're working on or part of?
Yeah, right now we're in the middle of working on a documentary. I got some other people writing a script on my life. I don't know, they're trying to see maybe some series or some movies, and we got a documentary about the situation with me in the Bronx, the case I caught with the CNC gang, Calderon and all of them. We try and put that documentary out. And then we got a show coming up where we acting out, certain scenarios like Miko was saying earlier. Shout out to Miko Gattuso, HBO Euphoria. That's my dude right there, my brother from the Bronx. So, with his contacts and his open door that he got in the industry, we're gonna bring some situations and scenarios of certain individuals to life, and we're going to bring it out to the theater and dramatize it, and see where that goes. So I got me, Mario Machete. Shout out to my brother Mario Machete, just did 27 from Bushwick, Brooklyn, living up in the Bronx with me now. He's going to dramatize his scenarios, and we got Peter Shue. Shout out to Peter Shue, my brother too, also from the Bronx. And yeah, he's gonna be a part of it. So we hoping that, you know, this will be a good look for us.
Very nice. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Pirate, thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you for having me.
And you guys make sure you look out for Pirata, Pirate, Taliek,
Yes.
Brooklyn to the Bronx, all that good stuff.
Follow that Instagram, Pirate Taliek Pirata, if y'all want.
How do you, well, you guys will see it below.
Yeah.
Watch below. Thanks to Vegg. Shout out to Vegg. So that was a
Shout out to my little sister who came over here too, Jessica, accompanied us on this interview. She's sitting in the background. Shout out to Gilly.
Gilly.
Who that fashion, who that brothers,
Who that fashion.
who that brands, cop that brand. Who that brands, cop that brand.
Yo, Sunshine, Jenny,
Deal.
fuck out of here.
Yes, sir. Yo, Sunshine.
Guys. All right.
Niggas be mad when we get back to the hood. Like, yo, you say my name.
Oh, he heard you in the back. I got it out. I got it out in the end.
All right. Thank
go
you.
cut?
Yes.
That's a cut.